to read about the latest news from Greece, United States, and our community on newgreektv.com. Offered in English and Greek language, read about politics, the economy, and upcoming events.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Greek TV News, English edition.
Enjoy our feature articles on travel, fashion, and health.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Well, we want to hear everything about your background. Tell us a little bit about wigs.
Watch New Greek TV productions anywhere, anytime on our web TV.
Από την εκπομπή, εμείς πάνω σε αυτό στα προβλήματα που αντιμετωπίζουμε.
Το 35%
Για αυτό που έχει κάνει αυτή η ταινία.
newgreektv.com. Our heritage, our community, our channel.
On the island of Tsipras, at the heart of the Aegean, Gaia produced an exquisite organic olive oil in limited edition, which traveled all the way to the US. The sales of Tsipras olive oil will finance 10 new and innovative Greek companies to grow. Buy today your bottle in reinspiregreece.com and support the Greek youth to move forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Greek TV's News English edition. Greek bond yields hovered on Tuesday around their lowest since the country's debt was restructured, with its international lenders set to return to Athens this week to resume bailout talks. The Troika of the International Monetary Fund, the European Commission, and the European Central Bank interrupted a visit last year due to a lack of progress in discussions with Greek authorities. Since then, the Greek economy has shown signs of significant improvement. Its budget surplus for 2013 beat forecasts, and its economy shrank less than the government or its lenders expected, achievements which should lead to the disbursement of loans held up since September, according to analysts. Sources directly involved in the talks told Reuters earlier in the month that differences over plugging a €1 billion funding gap for the year had largely been bridged. Greek 10-year yields last stood at 7.58%, about 10 basis points above their lowest levels since a March 2012 debt restructuring, which were hit last week. Greece has made progress with the attainment of a primary surplus and early signs of stabilization in the economy, said Dennis Shen, economic associate at Allianz Bernstein. A spike in trading volumes in Greek bonds and a tentative resurgence of debt insurance instruments represented further signs of healing in a market once at the mercy of so-called vulture funds, reputed for seeking high returns in collapsed assets. Volumes in the first 5 weeks of the year stood at about 546 million euros, about 36% of the turnover for the whole of 2013, and almost matching 2012's annual volume, Greek central bank data showed. This indicated a broader group of investors than just domestic banks and high-risk hedge funds were interested in Greek bonds, while volatile trading during the year's emerging market tensions suggested investors with mandates in the developing world were holding some Greek bonds as well. Some of the real money has gone in there on the back of the European recovery story. Lots from New York, London, and Europe, said Gabriel Stern, economist at distressed debt brokerage Exotics. This year has also seen the reappearance of prices of Greek credit default swaps, last quoted at roughly 490 basis points, although data provided market said they were for the moment indicative. The market effectively collapsed after Greece restructured its debt. Once CDS trading picks up, investors will be able to hedge their exposure to Greek bonds and may be more willing to hold them, analysts said. It's all related to investors regaining interest in trading Greek bonds, IMG rate strategist Alexandros Giasanti said. Alexis Tsipras officially opened his party's election campaign, saying that local and European Parliament elections are seen by his party as a referendum for the referendums, the Troika, and the inhuman policies of austerity. The leader of Syriza spoke of an electoral encounter with the ruthless class rival vested interests, big interests, bank thievery, and their political representatives. Anyone who believes that tragedy is happiness may choose Prime Minister Adonis Samaras, favored by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Tsipras said, adding, whoever believes that Greece is in a humanitarian crisis and that something must be done for that, will join our ranks. Indirectly criticizing the government for accusing it of siding with terrorism, seeing in our faces monsters, extremists, fortune hunters, and followers of violence. Tsipras also criticized anyone drawing comparisons between Syriza and PASOK. A psychiatrist is necessary to diagnose what the problem is of those who collaborate closely on memorandums with PASOK and then turn around to accuse us of becoming like PASOK. I'm sorry, they're committing another historical error, he said. Speaking on the second round of local elections, the party leader said Syriza would clearly vote for the Communist Party of Greece, KKE, candidates if none of his party were available. If in any corner of Greece, if there are no forces Syriza supports in the second round, and whenever a KKE candidate runs opposite a government candidate, we shall support KKE's candidate. The president of the bunkering company ETEKA and Atromitos Football Club, Giorgos Panos, has been arrested for his involvement in a petroleum smuggling ring. Giorgos Panos was arrested along with 15 other persons as police are investigating an illegal fuel smuggling ring that involves fuel station owners, executive officers of petroleum companies, as well as ministerial officers. The charges brought against the suspects include fuel smuggling, fraud, money laundering, bribery, and abuse of authority. The police operation was launched yesterday afternoon, and so far 30 people have been detained. Based on information from official sources, 2 ministerial officers have been detained. The first is an officer of the Ministry of Environment, Energy, and Climate Change and was responsible for coordinating the workshop that made the controls, while the other was an associate of the first officer. Farmers may have been hit in the face with the government's tax measures, but the rally in Athens was relatively uneventful with more than 4,000 people present. It was arranged a week ago and it was supposed to be the culmination of the farmers' struggle against the government's decision to increase their taxation. The tractors came in the capital from all over Greece, but farmers walked to Parliament. Some feared or tried to presage clashes with police, but other than a flag on fire, nothing much else happened. The flag was that of the Greek presidency of the EU, and the farmers burnt it symbolically to protest the presiding country's European stance on their issue. The protesting farmers met at Vathi Square outside the offices of the Agriculture Ministry in downtown Athens. Then they moved to Syntagma Square, ending outside Parliament. According to estimates, there were more than 4,000 farmers protesting in the capital. Farmer representatives asked for a meeting with the President of Parliament, but he was away, so the farmers delivered a resolution to his office. There was slight tension when, after the biggest mass of the protesters had walked away, a small number attempted to take down the barricades set up by police in front of Parliament. They were repulsed by riot control teams. With twin elections for municipalities and the European Parliament taking place in 3 months, the Finance Ministry attempted a second show of good faith. Last week, it capitulated to a small number of farmer demands. Today, they upped their offers. They excluded farmers from a business tax all freelancers have to pay. The farmers' response was not positive, as was to be expected. The price of milk has been at the epicenter of a pricing controversy lately. Now, when it comes to milk, most people think cow, not donkey. Still, beauty product connoisseurs would tell you that donkey milk is the basis of many beauty creams and very expensive at that. Well, no more. The Agricultural Development Ministry passed a long-debated legislation which leads the way for the commercialization of equine milk and its products for human consumption. Just so you can get an idea of the current price, at 30 to 90 euros a liter, donkey milk is more expensive than champagne. Apparently, donkey milk composition is the closest thing to human milk. There are only 6 donkey milk production farms in Greece, producing a liter of milk daily at best. Apart from public consumption, it's also used around the world for soap production and beauty products. There are well-known Swiss beauty product firms offering anti-age facial creams based on donkey milk formula with a price tag of 400 euros per 50 milliliters. Like with all food products, the ministry decision for the donkey milk comes with certain restrictions. Among them, strict production, sterilization, pasteurization, condensation, and freezing methods in approved locations. Given the particular production is still in its infancy, it is open to development. Getting the donkeys might be a bit hard to find. That part could be the most challenging of the business. Still, if you can import them at a fair price, you might get yourself a new business opportunity. The row over the return of the Parthenon marbles that has pitted Hollywood star George Clooney, a known activist, with British authorities and media is escalating, albeit on a tangent. Taking the public row a bit further, the Mayor of London, the ever-colorful Boris Johnson, likened the Hollywood star to perhaps the evilest man in history, saying that Hitler also wanted to take the marbles to Athens after he would loot them from the British Museum. This Clooney is advocating nothing less than the Hitlerian agenda for London's cultural treasures, said the Lord Mayor. Mr. Clooney picked up the gauntlet, and not to mince word, he chalked Mr. Johnson's remarks to a little too much hyperbole, washed down with a few whiskeys. This time, Mr. Clooney's retort was more tightly woven with facts from international law and argument, likening the breakup of the Parthenon marbles to a supposed breakup of Michelangelo's David. It would be as if the statue of David's head were sold to England, his arm to the Vatican, and his torso to the Met. Mr. Johnson has predictably chosen his side in this controversy that is pitting the British Museum and its supporters against the rest of the rational world. Moreover, however, it's one thing to voice support for a cash cow, as the marbles have become for London and the British Museum, and another to hurl abuse on an issue on which one knows very little about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us for this English edition news. Tune in next week. This was Themis Silopoulos for New Greek TV.
On the island of Antiparos, at the heart of the Aegean, Gaia produced an exquisite organic olive oil in limited edition, which traveled all the way to the US. The sales of Antiparos olive oil will finance 10 new and innovative Greek companies to grow. Buy today your bottle in reinspiregreece.com and support the Greek youth to move forward.
Daily to read about the latest news from Greece, United States, and our community on newgreektv.com. Offered in English and Greek language, read about politics, the economy, and upcoming events.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Greek TV News, English edition.
Enjoy our feature articles on travel, fashion, and health.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Well, we want to hear everything about your background. Tell us a little bit about yours.
Watch New Greek TV productions anywhere, anytime on our web TV.
Από την εκπομπή,
Εμείς πάνω σε αυτό το
στα προβλήματα που αντιμετωπίζουμε.
35%
Και αυτό που έχει κάνει αυτή η ταινία
newgreektv.com. Our heritage, our community, our channel.